ahead, brother.
I just got off work. I fired 3 people today.
Employment law. That's what, all right. CYA, call your attorney for April, and y'all probably gonna get a back-to-back on this one. So we loaded up right now, but you got LP. We also have
Phil,
and we have our specialist, our partner, Brian. Bank on Brian. Please introduce yourself again, sir.
Hey, everybody. Brian Crockett. If you have any type of injuries or you might be injured at work, reach out to us. That's all we handle. That's all we do. And there's not any type of case where you might come in and say, hey, I don't know if I do have one and you're getting charged anything. Literally, it's free. Call us, find out what you want, what you need to know, and we'll make sure that we get you in the right direction. If we can't help you, we may send you down to somebody else who more or less specializes in that other thing.
And what's crazy is after our last episode, when I was talking about how I got hurt in the gym, I probably got 50 DMs saying you should have went and got some legal help. Like a bunch of people told me that. So, but also, we have the legal Barbie today in the building. She's slumming with us, man, because I done seen her on Dallas radio.
Wow.
Fox 26.
Oh, yeah. She moving.
She moving for real.
Yeah.
Please, Simone, introduce yourself again.
Hey, y'all. I'm attorney Simone Redwine with the Redwine Law Firm. If you need to reach me, you can reach my firm at 855-4-SIMONE with a Y. And I'm an injury attorney as well. I own a title company, and we do title closings anywhere in the state of Texas. So reach out to us again, 855-4-SIMONE. Let's get into it, y'all.
First, we got to talk about the Barbie outfit. Like, I mean, like what's going on? Like, how did this happen today? What's up?
Oh, I was just feeling really pretty. I got some new extensions.
Okay.
I'm doing it's the flip over method.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I like this. I think it looks very relievable. Look at the texture match.
I'm gonna.
What do you think?
I wouldn't have known that it was. Is it a sew-in?
It's a sew.
I wouldn't have known it was a sew-in without looking.
Good.
I would not have known that.
You got somewhere to go after this?
Oh yeah, I got me a little something.
Oh my God!
I got to get on the plane. I'm getting blued out.
What?
Yes.
Blued out?
Not blued out.
Oh,
Flew out.
Blue out. I thought you said blued out, like
These
blue
are
chewed
experts.
out.
What are you talking
My
about? These are
bad, I'm
experts.
sorry.
Oh, this is also brought to you by Blue Chew.
No bullshit.
If you want to get, no, we can't do that on the legal experts. You know what I'm saying? I was about to go bananas on them right now. So, all right, because this is a halfway serious production right now. There's a lot going on in the legal world. So I think most people come to us for a variety of things. One, maybe to get some support on a case or details that they have seen. And two, they like some of the salacious things that we see in the media that's happening. So who wants to get us started? Is there anything that anyone would like to kick off with for today's conversation?
So should we start with like some celebrity legal drama tea, or should we start with like a write-in question that I received?
Let's do the write-in. Let's do the write-in. Yeah, because the questions, I think, will, and for y'all to know while she's pulling things up, our next episode of this will be a live stream.
Yeah.
It'll be a live stream where you can actually call in. We have production that does nothing during the production. And we are going to put them to work during the next one to make sure that we can make this a better experience for y'all. So please, will you let us know what's going on?
Absolutely. So this is a write-in. We're going to call her Martha. Martha was at a nail salon. And while at the nail salon, there must have been a puddle of water near where the pedicure area was. As I was walking past the pedicure area, I slipped and fell, hitting my head on the ground, as well as hurting my back and my legs. As I was down on the ground, one of the workers took a yellow wet floor sign, put it by my head, took a picture. And then, as I'm yelling for help, proceeded to call the ambulance, which I needed. If, in fact, the wet floor sign was already there, do I have a case still?
Okay, so does this Martha, thank you for sending that in. You know, hopefully your head is better at this point. Please, you know, but does she have a case?
So one of the biggest things that I'd just like to highlight, anytime you have a head injury or a potential head injury, make sure that not only you're going to the emergency room, but you've got to tell them the important kind of symptoms or the signs that they're really looking to hear. And a lot of times you realize that if they're not seeing broken bones and they're not seeing blood, they're not going to be thinking, hey, let me put down every symptom you have. And so some of the key ones that you have are if you have any sensitivity to light, if you have any nausea, if you're feeling any dizziness, if you have any pounding headache, make sure that you're emphasizing those things. You're putting those inside your actual initial intake form, because those are the things that if you leave it off, they may or may not even ask you a question about it. And those head injuries, as we know, a lot of times there's what we call the miserable minority. There's about 15% of the people that actually don't get better after a concussion. So that said, one of the aspects of do you have a case is we look at what's foreseeable. All right. So if anybody who's ever gotten a manicure or pedicure knows that if they're putting your feet in the water, they're moving anything around, there's the possibility that you're going to have water getting onto the floor. In fact, there's a lot of places where the water will actually have a leak, or they know that there's a problem, and they're really thinking, hey, nobody's really going to fall. They're willing to accept that risk, and then somebody gets injured. So what you got to ask yourself is it foreseeable that you could encounter the situation? And a nail salon, water on the floor is something that they should be on the lookout for. And if they're not cleaning it up, if they're not actually inspecting it and making sure it's safe for you, then you absolutely have a case. Yeah. And when it comes to a head injury, you might have a significant case because there's a lot of people that we've represented in the past where not only are they not better, but they have ongoing problems that may not even be identified for 6 months to a year later when they start actually interacting or going back to work and people say, hey, they're not the same person.
Yep.
Let me ask, do these type of cases, are they like strung out? Does it take a long period of time to get these situations resolved, or is this kind of like a open and shut situation?
So anytime you have the insurance company on the other side, there's never an open and shut. They never want to pay you what your case is worth. What we always refer to it as the delay, deny, defend. And so they'll continue to delay it, asking you for more information, asking you to get all these things where they know that if you got an attorney, you wouldn't even be asked for those things.
Right.
And so they delay it. You spend all your own internal money trying to give them what they're asking for. And then at the end, they just say, oh, we actually deny that we have any liability for it. And then at that point, you've got to get an attorney and you've got to actually file a suit. And now they're defending it. Yeah. And so what they really want to do is delay it 6 months, a year, as long as they can, so that maybe you won't be getting the treatment you need to get. And now they can say, hey, you weren't really that hurt. Otherwise, you would have got the treatment.
Dang. So in your scenario, you're saying there's a case, head injury, maybe even a large case. Have either of you encountered something similar to this before?
I have. And I want to say, wet floor sign, no wet floor sign, call us.
Wow.
We will look into your case because I've been at businesses where they have a perpetual wet floor sign. That don't mean nothing. That doesn't mean anything. That means you were too lazy to fix the problem. And you think by simply putting a wet floor sign up, you don't actually have to mop it up.
And that wet floor sign, the real kind of, if you talk with the safety experts, is it's supposed to be an identification of the exact location where the hazard is. And so what Simone's talking about is you might see that whenever it rains, they just put a sign up and they say, oh, it's
they do.
As soon as you get at the front door.
Yeah.
Be aware, anywhere in my store, it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works. You literally have to put the wet floor sign over the top of whatever the hazardous condition is. And then you're supposed to then, remediate it, remove the hazard, and then remove the sign.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what is the business owner's responsibility in that then? Because things do happen and it's difficult to mitigate every risk.
Sure.
So what's the business owner's responsibility in that?
So if you think about it just from a gas station standpoint, you may say, hey, it saves us money by only having one person on the night shift, or maybe only having a couple people during the actual rush hour. But you actually, if you're open to business for profit, you have to make sure that it's actually safe at all times. Wow. And so when you're making that choice to say, hey, I'm going to risk safety, you're really saying, I'm willing to put people in danger, and if they do get hurt, then you need an attorney so that you can make sure that you get the full amount that you're entitled to.
Right.
Wow. See, I would have never thought about that.
So make sure when you got that slip and fall, you give Brian's office a call so that they can evaluate it.
Hold on, that almost rhymed.
Yeah,
Hold on.
that's like a slogan type thing.
Yeah,
That's a good slogan.
Let me run that back
Should we
again.
put that on a t-shirt?
Yeah, we got to.
If you have a slip and fall, give Brian's office a call.
There you go. I like that. I like that.
All right, let's get to some of the Salacious Tea.
Yeah.
You know, I need to be caught up on what's been happening. There's been a lot going on. What have you, because, you know, this is what happens on Simone's Instagram sometimes. When I see her face transposed behind legal documents, I know there's a lot going on. So what's up? What's happening?
All right, so we got a few. I'm gonna throw some names out there, and y'all tell me which one you want. We've got Anthony Edwards offering $100,000.
Oh, that's already got me.
Okay, so Anthony Edwards is a basketball player on the Minnesota
Timberwolves.
Those, I was going to call them the Monkeys, the Timberwolves.
Wait, hold on. That
The
is
Minnesota
crazy. Bro, play for the Monkeys.
The Minnesota Monkeys. That's how much I care about basketball. Okay, the Timberwolves. Now, he has a girlfriend, but there was a side girl who he got pregnant. I think her name is Dream or Jada, whatever the hell her name is. Pretty little thing. And he got her pregnant and offered her $100,000 to take the abortion pill. So she takes part of it, and then she is upset that he doesn't give her the rest, give her her money. And so she goes to social media and blasts him. And so the question becomes, what can she do? Is this a breach of contract? If she's taking the abortion pills and he ain't run her $100,000, he gave her half of it. He gave her, I believe it was like $50K. She wants the rest of her money. The question is this a breach of contract? I want y'all to take a guess, and of course I'm gonna let you know that.
I don't think so. No, it's a verb.
I think it is.
How?
I think there's handshake agreements also.
That's right.
So I think this was a handshake agreement.
Okay. So what makes it a handshake agreement? Because you can literally tell anyone, if you do something, I'll pay you for it.
Yeah, and that's where, in their instance, especially with him being a public figure, I think it made a contract in that case.
And he gave her $50,000 of the money. He gave her half the money. So why do you think it wouldn't be a contract?
It wasn't written out. Who's seen it? Who's the witness?
That is the biggest myth of contract.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be in writing.
Okay.
Writing makes it easier. And there is a rule that says if a contract's over $500, it's supposed to be in writing. But there is an exception to that, which is something called performance.
Yeah.
If one side performs and does their part of it, that's sufficient evidence of a contract. So he would have to pay up. And here, she performed. She took the abortion pill, and he gave her the $50K. So that's evidence. And then he should have given her the rest of the money.
In his defense, could he say?
Nah, bro, over here.
Because I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out. In his defense, can he say that he gave her the $50K for something completely different?
Oh, men lie all the time. He can say whatever he wants.
Wait, hold on. Men folk don't lie.
Oh.
We are not going to allow that. Men folk do not lie. We may stretch the truth.
Okay, so the question becomes what? Then what'd you give her $50,000 for? This
Yeah, Phil, what did you give her $50,000 for,
Well,
Phil?
he could have been giving her money just to be his side
to be
chick.
pretty? Then I think she would argue, she'd be like, all right, well, show us evidence of how much you give your other side chicks. But also, running back to what you said before, which is it wasn't in writing, I want to clarify that. It was, because it was text
message. Okay.
Text messages count.
No way. There's no way that
how does that count?
I'm not rolling with that. I'm not rolling with that.
Brian, help me out here.
Hold on. There's no way, because
Why wouldn't they?
I've said some
some
wild shit
in text. I have committed the world in text. There's no way.
Absolutely. I have
So
a friend.
I just want to highlight really quick, which Simone is 100% accurate on this. When everybody thinks in writing, they're thinking, okay, you go to the law firm and you write all this stuff out and you make it all this
I'm
legalese.
messed up.
All you need to do is you have the terms of the agreement and an amount. And
Yep.
sometimes you don't even need an amount if you have a history of paying that amount or whatever the reasonable charge is. Now, all those things considered, just for Phil, there is no contract for illegal activity. So if you're asking for performance and then you don't pay,
prostitutas.
that probably isn't enforceable, because anything illegal is
Would this be considered an illegal activity?
So that is the T. It's not illegal, but ultimately this is a contract. The contract was breached. But if either party wanted to go to the court and say, I wasn't paid or she didn't get the abortion, the courts would do, there's a rule that's called void for, it's something that's void because it's basically immoral for the courts to become involved. Void for public policy is what it's called.
Okay.
As a result, what that means is the courts say, even if it's a valid contract, we are not getting involved. My name is Bennett. I ain't in it. Because this is not something that courts should be used to determine.
Dang.
Right.
Yes. So an example of that, this was on my final exam, and I always remember, was on the final. The question in my contracts class was, this girl was married to a bum. Her father said, I'll give you $100,000 if you divorce him. She divorced him and then went back and said, Dad, give me my money. And Dad said, you should have never married the bum in the first place. She sues him in court, and the court says, we're not involved. This is void for public policy.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Even though she performed, even though in that case they even had a written contract. So same here with the abortion.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's...
Can we go back to the text message?
Yes. I'm nervous for you.
Why for me?
What you got in your text
What are you texting LP?
You know, LP is wild in moments of life. So I need to understand what is there's no way texts are binding. No way.
Absolutely. I will give you an example. Client contacts my office because she was tricking. You know, she had, I don't know if she was the tricky or the trickor, but basically she wanted a BBL. And she met this guy, and the guy said, oh, okay. And she tells the guy, listen, if you get the Care Credit card, I'll pay it back for you to pay for my BBL. And he says, okay. He gets it. She gets the BBL. He comes to town to see his work, and they have like one little weekend, and she's like, he's weird, blocks him, ghosts him, never talks to him again. He sues her in court and is able to win and submit the text messages where she is saying, hey, if you get this Care Credit, I'll pay you back, blah, blah, blah. So absolutely. That was evidence.
So wait a minute. Text.
Look, congratulations on that win.
So look, text. What about DMs?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you kidding me?
If it's in writing.
But it's
that's
not
all.
Really in writing, though.
You can
why
even
isn't it in writing? If you can see it.
It's not on legal paperwork.
Doesn't have to be. That's how come the people say you can do a will on the back of a napkin. Yes.
Okay, I do. I have heard that.
Right.
I have.
If it is in writing, that is your evidence.
This was not supposed to be an anxiety show for me because this is crazy.
You better watch your DM.
So you got to watch what you text and DM.
And DM, both.
No way.
And email.
And your voice messages too.
No, I don't do voice notes.
notes.
I don't do voice notes.
I do use voice notes.
What?
Part of it,
People use voice notes because it's.
I don't use voice
I
notes.
get real nasty on them voice notes.
I don't use voice notes.
Yeah, them voice notes is
because
nasty,
I feel like
man.
if my voice is on it, then it's really me. You know what I'm saying?
It's really you.
But
Yeah.
text, I can plausible deniability.
My kids they're using my phone.
Exactly. My daughter had my tablet.
I
perfect.
change
That's
my
a good
voice
line.
when I'm on a voice note.
Well, you sound like Barry
How
White.
it sound? Show us how it go.
Hey, baby.
Man, yo, like, hey, fellas, put the camera on me.
Yeah, for sure. Talk to him.
You need to have some discipline and some accountability with your text and DMs. Who knew that could come up in court? I thought, especially DMs. Text I know can be used, but DMs ain't no way.
Yeah. DMs.
What if we
use?
delete them?
You delete them, it don't matter. That's tampering with evidence. That is
But just because you delete it on your side doesn't mean that they don't have
the
it.
prison.
Now you can
Put the camera on
Put the
film.
camera on me now.
and their screenshot.
Use the invisible.
That's true.
Flip the screen up and use the invisible thing where you send it and then it goes away after she sees it one time.
And fellas, put the camera on me. Also put a VPN on and say you're in Seattle. All right, we back at it. We back at it. All right, so we got.
So
we gave y'all game.
if you start negotiating any contract and you see it come through, make sure you slide that down, put it on record screen, flip that back up.
Why are you giving them game? Do not listen to
get clients. You get more
Do not
clients.
listen to this. Do not listen to this. Okay. All right. What's the next?
What we got?
teaser?
All right,
What's
so
next?
we've got, I'm going to give you some options. Okay, so we've got Iman Shumpert, Tiana Taylor. We've got Portia and Simon. And then of course, there's Diddy and Little Rod.
Okay, let me hear Portia, because I used to have a crush on Portia.
Ooh, Portia.
Really?
Yeah, I like Portia.
Really?
Man. Yeah, I like brown skin, thick things. Man.
Yeah. Oh, well, that would be her. Bless her heart. And it looks like Portia's back on the market. And she's back on the market.
She's scratching like a crap feed.
Her standards aren't even really that high.
They not.
Hold on. She trying to say you low standards. Wait.
got a chance.
Nah, my bro's doing good, man. What you mean?
Well, actually, you're too handsome for her because
she
she likes him looking like
like the troglodytes?
the bottom of your shoe,
Okay.
so to speak.
Okay.
As long as they have what she thinks is money.
Yeah.
So recently, Portia Williams has filed for divorce against Simon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because she found out that Simon isn't actually Simon.
Oh.
For the last 30-some years, he's been living in America under a false identity. He stole the identity of a sharecropper and who came here and had permanent status to be here as a sharecropper, as an agricultural worker, and then that turned into permanent resident status. Well, he did that because when he was previously using his real identity, he committed too many crimes. He did a bunch of credit card fraud and got deported. Portia had no idea. So she has now discovered that not once, not twice, but 4 times the U.S. government rejected Simon's petition to become a permanent U.S. citizen because of his fraud. And he never told her about it before the divorce. So she's livid. But the catch is this. She's trying to have the prenup enforced. And he is claiming domestic violence against her in an attempt to stay in the country. Damn. It is it's the best part of the hot mess is many people have asked, well, why didn't he apply to stay and have citizenship based on his marriage? He's been married 4 times. This is the fourth or 5th time. But the thing is this. So the 4 times he got rejected, he was trying to do it under the fake identity. And that's because he wanted citizenship on his own, because if you get citizenship through marriage, you have to stay married.
You do. Yeah.
He's on his 4th one. He likes to be able to get up and go to the next. His last with Portia, he proposed to her, and after 1 month, the wife he had prior to that was approximately 2 years. So interestingly, it appears that part of the reason he proposed to Portia so quickly is because he had already been rejected at that point. I believe it was 3 times, and knew that marriage would be the only remaining grounds that he has to stay in the country. So now he was going to try to use marriage, but then Portia files for the divorce. So he's got one final shot. What's the final shot? If you're here illegally, the only other way you can stay in America when you can't do it on your own and you can't do it through the marriage would be domestic violence.
Damn.
So that is why, I believe that's why he recently accused Portia of domestic violence, is because there's an act, and there's an act that was created to protect illegal immigrants due to the fact that many of them were in abusive relationships where the abusive partner would say, you can't tell the cops because then they're going to deport you.
Yeah.
So the one way you can stay, despite all the other stuff, is domestic violence. So now Simon is alleging that she showed up to the house with a big black man with a gun and frightened him. And she's calling BS. I think, it's
Man, we need to make America great again, man. I don't know what's going on right now. What happened in that field? This is your chance, though. Let Portia know.
Let
What's
her,
up?
Portia,
Let her know.
ready.
Let her know.
I don't know if I want no parts of it. She beating on men, coming to the house with guns. I don't need no drama in my life.
That is crazy.
That's added protection
You
for
could be
you.
a kept man, but she could
I
take
don't
good
want to be
care of you.
kept. I don't want to be taken care of.
What you mean? I want
I'm
to
good.
take care of me. You know what you talking about?
I'm good on
I'm
that.
tired of working. Why are we working so hard? You know what I'm saying?
You should have started that off with, I'm here legally.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? I got
am.
a passport.
No issues here. Yeah, but she's right.
That's pretty crazy that he used a whole different identity, and then at the same time trying to use the legal system to stay in the country.
And I'm like, your dumbass went on national TV doing all that.
Yeah,
I was just
that's
about to
crazy,
say he
yeah.
was on TV, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't keep up with the reality shit. But wasn't he with a girl that Portia was
Yes,
friends with?
Fallon. He was married to a girl named Fallon
Okay.
when Portia first met him.
Yeah.
and they were on an episode of
The
Real
show,
Housewives
yeah.
together.
Is Fallon also kind of thick and
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
well,
know.
you like that one too.
Okay.
Hold on.
That, you might have a better shot over there. But anyhow,
Just put me in front of somebody. I'll be
okay,
all right,
I got
Simone.
somebody for you. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, so he was with, and so Fallon is kind of like chuckling over, laughing to the side.
Yeah.
But it appears Fallon had no idea about this either.
Wow.
Portia didn't know about it. And now I actually believe he don't have the money he's claiming to have.
Of course
either.
not.
So
That's
he did
what
all
happens.
this thinking
Yeah.
he had the money, and because I ran a background check on him. Oh yeah, I do that to you guys for fun. Contact me again 8554.
Wait, have you read a background check on Phil and I?
No, but I would love to.
No,
do it.
do
Do it
that.
next
Do
episode.
that.
I
I'm
don't do
clean.
nothing.
I'm gonna do it
I
next
don't do
episode.
anything.
You work in HR, so
Yeah.
I feel like yours is either clean or you already sealed off whatever would have been.
Definitely don't run a background check on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a criminal. Do not run one on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a citizen now that's reformed. You know what I'm
Speaking
saying?
of criminals, OJ just died. OJ's dead.
But wait, hold on. We don't know if OJ was a
Hold
criminal.
on,
Hold on, hold on.
wait a
We
minute.
love the
OJ.
juice. We love the juice over here.
The juice is.
He went
The
to
juice is
prison
loose.
for 8 years for
But because
stealing
he
back
still-
his
he
trying
child.
to get his
memorabilia.
stuff.
I agree. But
Brian.
that's what happens when you kill pretty little white girls.
Hold on.
Brian has no comment.
Brian said,
How about
he
it
said,
is?
this is the black community. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, look. Let me tell y'all a funny story.
Oh, I'm ready.
So I'll never forget the day when that verdict was passed. I was in a school where I was one of 2 black kids in my class.
Yep.
Okay. We had this TV cart similar to the one that's like right here.
Yep.
They brought the TV cart out. I can't remember why we were watching it, but it was captivating. The verdict came down. Bro wasn't guilty. In my heart, I'm like, a black man got justice. Every white person in my class
Yep.
looked at me like, you black. Like, what do you
Negro.
get out of here? Like I got checked out of school early that day.
For real?
Yeah, my dad was like, "Yo, we got to come get you." Like what's
To
gonna happen?
celebrate or what?
No,
Y'all gonna go to Corral?
we definitely
Movies?
not. We didn't go to Cold Stone and get ice cream afterward.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't feel safe at that time.
Yeah.
Now I'm under the impression that OJ did it. I am. I'm under the impression that he did it, but he beat the justice
He beat
system,
the
so I'm
justice
not mad
system.
at him.
Hey,
I'm
we
not
got
mad at him.
one. 10,000 losses in. We got
But I
one.
do think that OJ did it. But I never want to see a man die. Like I just don't.
He died of cancer.
I didn't
right?
even know he had cancer, and that's what's crazy.
Cancer.
I didn't even know he
Oh
had cancer.
gosh,
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry to hear that. But on the legal side of it, what will be interesting to see is, remember, during his life, the family of Nicole Brown Simpson
Yeah.
sued him civilly.
Yeah.
And that is one of the premier cases. It shows even if you're found not guilty, you can still
Yeah.
win on the civil side. Which, by the way, pisses me off about George Zimmerman, because I always felt like Attorney Ben Crump. I always wondered why they never sued Zimmerman, so that Trayvon Martin's family could have
Could've
gotten
recouped, yeah.
millions and then had the rights to any, him
Yeah.
selling this, that, and the third. But back to OJ, what's going to be interesting to see now is the family had the multi-million-dollar verdict, but was never able to collect during OJ's lifetime.
Not one time.
And that was in part because what OJ did is he used the protection of what's called the Homestead Act. How that works in both Texas and Florida is if you get a judgment against you, they can take a variety of things from you, but they can never take your home, even if it is a multi-million-dollar home. So what he did is he took all of his assets and put it into huge Florida mansions. And so he always owned a property that was like some multi-million-dollar property.
Yeah.
And so it was very frustrating for the family.
So would you encourage us to get multi-million-dollar properties?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I had another friend. He was Dallas Cowboy. He was leaving a strip club. He said he wasn't drunk, but allegedly. And he hit 3 or 4 people, killed 2 of them, made one of them a paraplegic.
Hold on. This got
real
dark.
story.
This got dark though. This got dark.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, it gets better. But in that one, what he was anticipating the civil lawsuit. So what he did is he bought a really big house and then he would just downsize his homes just a little bit and then just roll the money back in the house. So even though he did 8 years in prison, but he's got
I know
his property.
exactly what you're talking about. Actually,
I
now,
always
too,
wondered-
because of the
It's
prison.
Google.
I
know
always
exactly what you're
wondered.
talking
Dwayne
about because of the
Goodrich.
pri-
Dwayne
You
did.
didn't have to say it.
What? Hi, Dwayne. He's fine now.
We're cutting this out.
Okay, good.
We're cutting this out.
I always wondered. Go ahead.
What Simone's really wanting everybody to know that if you have some financial success in your life and you'd like to keep those after you've done something wrong, put it into your house don't put it into a car or something else that can be taken from you.
Yeah.
And that's real. That's real.
I always wondered why OJ.
That is free game. Yeah.
I wonder why OJ moved to Florida.
That's
always wonder why.
He would have came Florida or Texas.
Right. So
those are the only two that do that.
Because he was beloved in his Brentwood community in LA.
Yeah.
I know that he had some dealings in Vegas.
Vegas may have a law that's similar, but yes.
But California is the worst law.
Okay.
They'll take your panties off of you.
Oh.
Why? Hold on.
It was alliteration.
No, that was not. There was no alliteration in that.
Is it
that's a metaphor.
Okay, that.
Yeah, alliteration is like 3 L's in a row.
Right.
Oh, wrong
You
one.
said take panties off of him.
It's the one where I'm trying to be like real dramatic, so you can visualize.
I visualize that,
And
but I don't think OJ wear panties.
Yeah,
I was thinking
That's
that same
right.
thing too.
That was Bruce Jenner.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Oh, and
Caitlyn.
she tweeted.
Yeah,
She
Caitlyn wrong for that tweet too.
She did get written.
Meanwhile, she murdered someone in a car accident.
Yeah, ho.
She did?
What about what you?
Okay, to Brian.
Yeah, get away from me.
To
I have no
Brian.
comment on that.
To Brian. Now, there are some cases that may be relatable to people just in their real everyday life. We've had some people who comment and was like, well, hey, give me something that maybe I've seen or that could have happened to me. What's some work that you've done recently or here in the past that you think that might be relatable to someone?
So one of the most common injuries that anyone's ever going to experience is really a slip and fall in a public for-profit business. So whether
Like
it's a
me,
grocery store.
and I didn't even take advantage of it, but go ahead.
And one thing I would say is that when you sign those releases that say, hey, you can't sue them, they're not enforceable depending upon what actually caused the injury. So once again, we could have made LP a bunch of money, and he chose not to call me. And
I didn't know you at the time, brother. You know what I'm saying?
But that said, I'll use one of the most common everyday things that we see all the time is people going into a gas station. And I highlight that because they're always understaffed. They're always focused on getting people in and out. They're never actually walking the floors and making sure that they're safe. And so we had one case in particular where our client actually already had an injury. So she had a fracture in her femur, and then she goes in while she's on crutches. And as she's going in, her crutch slips out from under her.
Oh, man.
And not only does she fall, she ends up having multiple fractures in that same femur and in her arm. Now, just like in Simone's case, where you'd say, no, they wouldn't, kind of doctor the evidence. After our client was left in an ambulance, they then put out signs and took photographs and then said,
I'm telling you.
that was already out. Now, what's interesting, though, is that the actual photographs of where the signs were just so happened that they were off of the video. So they're literally one tile over. And so they're going to, if it's a high school kid or a college person or someone else, they're going to say, how do I save myself from being potentially in the wrong? And so they literally put these actual yellow wet floor signs one tile over and then alleged that they had always been out. Now, the interesting part about it would have been the fact that where she landed and then the ambulance pulling in would have rolled right over that sign. But that does, we'll forget that piece. What I want to highlight, though, is that if you're handicapped, like she was at the time with crutches, now you actually bring in the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Damn.
You also bring in the Texas right-of-way access. And so you have all these different areas of the law that now are adding additional protection. And so if you're injured and you have these limitations, you actually have so many other laws that actually can come in and protect you. And if you go and talk to the actual gas station or someone else, though, they'll tell you we have no liability, knowing that under the ADA, they have almost an absolute duty to make sure that it's safe for people with any disabilities. And so the fact that they had water on the floor in their own report saying that they had just mopped, that was an open and shut case. But the insurance company still said, no, they were talking about a different area of the store. And then not only that, they were actually saying that the part where our client fell, there was actually no wet floor at all. And on top of that, they were saying, and we only saved the 3 minutes of video before, not the 45 minutes or an hour before.
Of course.
And so all those
when
things,
the ambulance was there and all of those other things.
right? So once the fall happens and the ambulance is there, that's where the video continues, and then boom, it cuts off. They didn't allow the video to keep going to where they're taking the pictures. That all happened after the fact.
Of course.
So just keep in mind that you're not just dealing with, it could be a major corporation. You're not dealing with somebody who's going to say, hey, let me just, capture what really happened, and leave it at that. You're going to be dealing with somebody who's like, how do I save my own ass?
Yep.
And that person is going to, number one, blame you. And we see that every single time.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like there's no accountability when someone gets hurt. Everyone's just trying to avoid paying out damages.
CYA, they want to cover their ass,
Yeah.
right? Especially employees. They don't want to get fired because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do, such as mopping up and putting the sign down.
I have a scenario for both of you guys, okay? 2019, I got in a car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver. So I called an attorney, not you guys. I didn't know y'all at the time. But I called an attorney, and we were working through things, and the settlement came out to be, I think I got I'm gonna say 11 G's for getting hit by a drunk driver. Now, he hit me pretty hard, right? And so where my workplace was at this time, the head guy over this, over the attorneys that I used, he came in. I said, hey, I used you guys, and I said, I got hit by a drunk driver. And he was like, oh, really? He's like, is your case finalized? I said, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is finalized. I said, how much did you get? And I told him 11,000, and excluding the lawyer fees or whatever. And he said, oh no, man, you were supposed to get way more than that. And I said, why? Why? He was like, once you get hit, is it your insurance or their insurance? And I got hit by a Mexican, and he had the rinky dink insurance.
Okay. And
I've
you
got
say
no
that
comment on that aspect.
Wait. Are you saying it to say you don't know if he was a citizen?
Right. I didn't.
Okay,
I didn't know. And so he was saying that it's something where if you get hit by a drunk driver, 30,000, you're supposed to get.
Well, my question is, was the 11,000 before lawyers' fees or after? Is that
after?
After?
That's
Okay.
how much you walked away with.
That's how much you walked away
So
with.
I
Gotcha.
think the settlement was 16.
No, okay. So what I'm thinking is this. So they're right. Every state has a minimum insurance policy. So in Texas, it's 30,000.
That's
right?
what
It's 30,000 in Texas, and then the standard is that your attorney's fees will be approximately they're 33 and a third.
Yep.
Is what it
That's
is.
right. That's
if
correct.
we get you this money without having to file a lawsuit,
Mm-hmm.
and then so generally what happens is that you end up walking away with a third. The law firm that represents you walks away with a third, and then your doctors together split 1/3. So if it was 30,000, that's actually about right
Okay.
because it would be approximately $10,000 to each entity.
And then what's with the rinky dink places that they send you to when you get hurt?
They
Ryan,
send
you wanna cover
they
that
send you to
one?
Ben Taub?
No.
You mean the lawyers?
If they send you to Ben Taub, you wouldn't have made
No,
it.
not the lawyer. I'm talking about the
healthcare
facility, the
places.
healthcare. Is they like rinky dink
I
places?
don't know who sent you there, boo.
I don't know. I guess my attorney.
The doctors have
Yeah,
okay.
because
Ryan, you want to cover
don't
that?
they
part?
work in cahoots with?
So the biggest thing that people need to understand is whenever you have an injury and you go start getting medical treatment, you go through your health insurance, there's a lot of different providers that actually will say, if you were in a car wreck, we will not treat you because your own health insurance, when they file that claim, they'll say third party liability, we're secondary to that other insurance company and the doctor won't get paid. Literally, if you go down to Methodist or St. Luke's or one of these bigger places, they'll end up asking you, hey, if this was a car wreck, you need to pay cash up front because they won't accept it. And a lot of people think, no, that can't be true, but it is.
Yeah.
And so, especially if you go to an orthopedic or a specialist, they want to get paid. And so you've got to be able to go to a provider that's willing to see you on what's called a letter of protection. And so that is, hey, we'll continue to see you without you having to pay us up front. But then if there is a settlement, you have to pay out of the settlement. And so that is a contract where they're saying, hey, we're providing you these services in advance. Now the challenge really is what's your location? Where are there available providers willing to accept a letter of protection? And then is that provider somebody that you would actually say, hey, I'm getting good services from? So oftentimes if a client ever came to us and said, hey, I've been going to this place, is there somewhere else? There's tons of places that you can go to get treatment where you feel like, hey, this isn't a hole in the wall type clinic. And that's the kind of the starting point is.
Yeah.
So, and the beauty of it too, of using a lawyer, because some people say, why should I use a lawyer? Is use a lawyer if you're injured. It's because if you're injured and you don't want to have to pay out of pocket, or you run into any of those situations like he described, we get you treatment immediately. You don't have to pay anything out of pocket. And most importantly, if you don't win your lawsuit, you don't have to pay anything back to your medical provider that we get you into as well. Let's say you win, but they don't have that much insurance, or you don't get a ton. Let's say the amount that you win is less than your medical bills. Well, then we get to go in and negotiate with those doctors so that at the end of the day, you walk away with a significant amount. You're able to pay your lawyer's fees, and all of your money doesn't get eaten up by medical bills. You still get a third at least.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think what people miss sometimes is that they think attorneys are their enemies sometimes.
Yeah.
Too. It's weird. Like they feel like, I don't want to be a part of a litigation society.
It's black people, man. Let's just be real.
You're right.
It's black people,
It is
man.
black people.
We don't want to deal with lawyers,
bankers,
and we don't want to deal with doctors.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Especially black men.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the worst.
Older black women too. They don't want to go to the black.
They don't want to
go
do
to
that.
the
Now, older black women, though, those are the ones that tell you need to call a lawyer about this or that. They tend to be more likely to do that, to seek options, to seek reparations.
Brian, do you have an opinion on the older black women play?
I think they're amazing.
Hey, you got yourself one, don't you?
So what I would add though, just to add to it, is whenever your doctors do make these recommendations, just realize the insurance company's number one response is, if a doctor told you that you should get this treatment and you're not getting it, then that's their number one defense to say you weren't really hurt.
Oh, wow.
So true.
And so when you do have those doctors make those recommendations, you need to go and actually see it through.
Even though therapy sucks too sometimes, because
it's tedious.
like going to,
I just want to say, when it comes to the actual number one treatment that you have to get is that initial visit as soon as possible and going to get an MRI. Within 30 to 90 days, any evidence of acute injury will be completely gone in an MRI. So when we handle work injury cases, it's no surprise that the employer won't approve that MRI until it's been past 90 days, so that they can turn around and say the only thing that MRI showed was degenerative changes.
So you should do that regardless, even if they don't approve it. Just do it on your own.
If your health insurance,
you can. If you can get that referral in, and don't limit yourself to your company's doctors.
Oh, yeah.
All right. If you have your own health insurance, immediately go see somebody else and get that referral, because that MRI, as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll say this too. Speaking, I want to be clear on the fact that, like, some people's concern about hiring a lawyer is, but the lawyer is going to take all my money. Let me tell you, lawyers like Brian and I can only speak for myself here, but basically when the settlement finally comes out, if you did everything you were supposed to, we go through the process, and let's say it's a situation where your medical bills are higher than the award. Not only do we negotiate down your medical bills for you, but we negotiate everything so that in the end, if we're able to resolve it without litigation, we don't walk away with more money than you do. I've even reduced my fee so that I walk away with less money than my client. So it is not a situation where I make all the money and here you are with $5 and back pain.
Yeah. No.
I have you guys worked pro bono? Is that what it's called?
I have. I do certain kinds. We don't do pro bono for things that have insurance that can pay, because it's instead we do it contingency.
Yeah, continue.
I've worked pro bono too.
Oh,
we work pro bono on this podcast for years. You know what I'm saying?
Pro bono.
Yeah, I mean, once we got rock hard, that kind of changed things. Look,
he's throwing that out to Portia. The word pro bono.
Look, this has been
No, wait, LP.
Go ahead.
Diddy and Rob.
So, Simone, please, this is your time to. You have been the Diddy. What's the word?
Informer.
Yeah, like I think out of all attorneys in the world,
Yeah, for sure.
there's no one who's been tapped in on Diddy as much as you. Please let the people know what's going on.
Goodness, there's so much going on, but the gist of it is Little Rod has now filed his second amended complaint against Diddy. And Little Rod's complaint appears to be kind of the final straw on the camel's back that's broke the camel's back that is going to result in Diddy being indicted criminally. The gist of Little Rod's complaints is that it all started from Little Rod being hired by Diddy to produce his Love album. Little Rod's complaint is that Diddy only paid him $29,000. He said that for a year and a half, he traveled with Diddy, recorded with Diddy, was on yachts and traveled internationally. He then used that international travel to say he was sex trafficked, that Diddy fondled his booty hole. This was in writing. This was in the complaint. Diddy fondled his booty hole, sex trafficked him, had him take drugs, forced him to take drugs, as well as witness various crimes. And for that, he's filing a civil suit and also believes that he has been a victim of RICO-related violence, which is the Racketeering Act. As a result, recently, the feds raided Diddy's home. They specifically were looking for tapes and files, etc. And in Little Rod's complaint, he specifically states that what he witnessed was that there is a control room in Diddy's home that has cameras that record each and every room in the home. So all the sexiness, all the sex, sex with young girls, sex with grown girls, sex workers. He referred to Young Miami as a sex worker, as well as Daphne Joy, which is 50 Cent's baby mama. And basically, overall, it sounds like because he didn't get paid what he felt he was worth, that he's bringing Diddy down. And he's telling on everybody else that he's, all y'all can go.
Hold on. So, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Because, okay.
I'm struggling with
Yeah.
Me too.
The booty hole play and being overseas is wild. But here's the thing. Off of his word alone, they're going to indict this man?
Not alone.
Okay.
So it's been reported that there have been at least four people who have sat down with the feds and been interviewed by the feds. 1 man, 3 women. Well, there's a total of 5 lawsuits against Diddy, civil lawsuits currently. And 1 of those plaintiffs is a man and all of the others are women. So it's believed that the women that sat down are likely Cassie, Jane Doe, who's the teenager who claims she was trafficked from Detroit to New York, as well as the other woman who claims that Diddy and I think it was Aaron Hall assaulted her.
Okay.
All right, man. Look. Diddy, that's a lot.
That is, man.
And it seems like we're probably gonna have a Diddy update every episode because it seems like something is happening every week.
I just want you all to know, Bank O'Brien, we've got no comment on this.
Look, y'all, this has been CYA.
Yeah,
we're going to be back to back. So y'all be prepared for us to go live. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to wait till next week to post this. I'm probably posting this tomorrow.
Yeah, do that.
So this will come out early. They need to see this.
We need to see Simone dressed up tonight.
Yeah, we need to see the I'm gonna call you Bayou Barbie. Like
I love it.
What's your name?
Reese.
Angel Reese. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because we in the Bayou too. You know what I'm saying? So please tell people where they can find you all again for your services.
All right. Bank on Brian TX. You can find me on Instagram. You can also reach out to us at crockett.law. Like I said, any case where you have some type of injury or injury at work, reach out to us. We can tell you if you have a case, and if we don't actually specialize in whatever area it is, we'll make sure that you get to somebody who does.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can reach me. My website is SimoneRedwine.com. Simone with a Y. You can also call 855-4-SIMONE. And definitely follow me on Instagram at Attorney Simone Redwine and YouTube at Girl, Is That Legal?
Yeah. And Phil, me and Phil talk about this all the time. Our hoodie's been in the streets like dope in the 80s.
Yeah.
And on the back of it, we got a QR code that links directly to our partners. So y'all, please, if you see this in the streets, on the back of it, there's going to be a QR code where you can get all this information. That's been CYA.
All right.
For the first part of April. We'll be back again for a live stream coming up real soon.
Yep.
We out.